Every year around the start of June, social media is flooded with people posting feature request threads about FIFA 23. Turns out that a lot of these requests have already been made by community modders, so I thought I'd make a video sharing some of the best mods that really should be part of the base game, and if you want to know a little bit more about what a mod does, check out the card that'll pop up in the top right of the video for some of the chapters. So let's start with something that seems like it's a really super obvious feature that definitely should be added to EA Sports FC. That's being able to use unassigned manager faces. It was a big improvement being able to play as real managers on FIFA 23, but still, I remember the first time I logged onto the FIFA 23 beta and I realized how few teams actually had real-faced managers. Of course, there are entire leagues that don't have any managers fake or real, including the Championship, League 1 and League 2, but there are actually managers like Jose Mourinho that have faces in the database that you can use and are fully in the game thanks to mods, but there's no way of doing it without them. Sure, you can recreate someone that looks sort of like him with the face editor that you can create your character with, but when there's a 3D scan that's in the game not being used, it does seem like a bit of a waste. Pochettino is a really good example. He got a new face scan when he was managing PSG last summer, but because he was fired before faces were ever added to the game, this has never actually been used in FIFA. Having these faces lying around is a bit annoying, so maybe EA could add something like a free agents list of managers that you can move around, and maybe even see some of them moving to clubs that are underperforming as your career mode progresses. There's so many interesting unemployed managers with real faces in FIFA that we can't use at the moment. Conte, Zidane, Potter, Lowe and Rodgers, they've all got faces but aren't available to use anymore. It sounds like an easy change, so hopefully it could be something that is added very soon. Scouting any country is another feature that I've talked about quite a lot, and it's one that I use quite a lot in my own saves. How would you like to find the first ever Andorran Wonderkid? Maybe you want to find a Georgian striker to pair with Kvara. EA actually has a name pool, player data and races set up for every country in the world. I've only noticed 1 or 2 nations having really small name pools or maybe getting the wrong race most of the time, but these are nations like Ethiopia and Micronesia. Bigger nations like Jamaica are actually fully ready to be used, but they're just disabled by default in the game settings. I've even done a save with San Marino to create a club where there was at least 50 different player names that could be randomized for my youth players to come through from San Marino. It does sound like it could be a really small feature to add, and you might think it's kind of irrelevant for the majority of saves, but maybe finding a Wonderkid from Bermuda or the Faroe Islands or Sri Lanka is the exact thing that your save needs right now. All of the data needed to do this is already in the game, so just enable it, EA, for the next FIFA games. Importing custom kits is another thing that people on consoles really want to be able to do. Since 2009, I've been creating custom kits for my own teams in every video game I've played. It started with PES, where you could easily import images to be put on the front and the backs of your shirts. Then I moved to Football Manager, where I've been creating 3D kits for about an entire decade. FIFA, however, is way more complicated than either of these. However, it can be done. By replacing files using the FIFA editor tool, you can actually easily see kits that you've made show up in-game. As each kit is the exact same template file, I do think this is something that could be added to future console games. At least on PS5, Konami does allow image importing on PS5 PES, so this could be done in pretty much the same way, where you just replace a texture with another one that you've imported from a memory stick. Again, it sounds like it could be a really small change, but being able to change your kits every single season or add a third kit for teams that don't have them, even if it's only done for Creator Club, could make a massive difference. I mean, a lot of the time I only replace kits that I personally find ugly, but that still happens a lot more than you might realise. Importing gameplay changes is another thing that everyone on PC seems to do. I'm a big fan of sliders, but I'm sure everyone who's ever used them on console can agree they are beyond annoying to set up. It can take 5 to 10 minutes to actually set them up, and then you use that set and then realise you don't actually like the sliders you've just spent ages setting up. That means you then have to spend another 5 to 10 minutes with the exact same risk that you're not going to like this set either. PC gamers can actually easily import gameplay changes in less than 5 seconds, leaving them time to test and download other changes if they're not enjoying what they've downloaded. Some examples of changes you can make with gameplay mods but not with sliders are mainly AI focused. For example, you can make the AI foul and be more aggressive, something there's no slider for. AI can shoot on sight or from the edge of the box more often. They can constantly attack, but without that scripting that means they always want to pull it back with a chipped cross across the goal. Or you can make it so that AI makes mistakes, but only in certain situations like high pressure moments or when they're chasing the lead. You might not realize it, but it is actually really difficult to get job offers from lower league clubs without being fired on FIFA 23. Career mode is all of course focused on the slow rise to the top of the football world, but sometimes you just want to take a step back and maybe rebuild a smaller club. We can't all have careers like Pep Guardiola where we go from Barcelona to Bayern to Man City. Sometimes you want to just be a David Moyes, maybe start at Manchester United, move to Sociedad and then Sunderland. It wouldn't be easy to do this on FIFA, but it is a fun career path and I'm sure you'll agree with me there. Again, this is something you can do thanks to Cheat Table. You don't have to offer that £1 release clause and get fired to get the offer from a smaller club. Instead, you just find the team's ID that you want, put it in a box, and then the team you wanted will show up inside career mode in the manager jobs part of the game. Instantly, you can manage whatever team you want in any league, any nation, any club. Whatever you want to do, you can actually do it thanks to this small change, something that really should be in the base game. Community-made player faces is another thing that should really be easier to add. Some of the faces missing from FIFA 23 is actually pretty bad. I'm sure Victor Osimhen is one of the most used players this year, but his face really doesn't look anything like him. Similar can be said for Musiala and Gavi, another two players who tons of people will have found out they have no faces on FIFA. These faces aren't quite as good as the ones made by EA, but some of the paid face creators are almost on face scan levels. While I don't think there'll ever be a time that PC level face mods are added to console FIFA, I don't see why there isn't an easier way to share player edits, and that isn't already in the game already. Maybe you could replace Osimhen's face with one that's been created by the community that uses EA's built-in face modeling system to create a better likeness. You already see people posting videos on YouTube of them recreating managers or legends, so having a way to copy them into your save without having to follow one of these guides would be absolutely amazing. The final thing I think that really should be in the base game is the way to make custom changes to career mode systems. By adding a lot more customization, you can do things like having your youth players come through at age 18 to 21 instead of 15 to 18. How about adding a way to edit the names and nationalities of your youth scouts because it doesn't really matter what these are? Giving yourself a points deduction. This is something that could be all done with mods, but are actually impossible in standard career mode. Maybe they could be added to a setup page before you start your career mode save. Maybe they should be options for your youth scouts or edit mode inside the actual career. No matter how you view this, I think it's a feature that I use a lot and I'm sure you would also learn to really enjoy. It's perfect for storylines, it's perfect for role-playing, and it might even help you to balance out the game how you enjoy it the most. If you think youth development is too slow, maybe you should bump up the average potential values. If you think transfer values are too low, add a multiplier that makes every player cost a certain percentage more. It seems like such a small change to add a few numbers that you can multiply here and there, so hopefully this could be something that we see going forwards. It's all possible thanks to mods, and if you're not sure how to do any of them, check out my second channel, links in the description below, where I'll be posting some tutorials on how you can actually do certain things thanks to mods in FIFA 23. Thanks for watching, see you soon, cheers and goodbye.